It's Paul and Mike. We're back again, and this is actually the second video that we made a bunch of months back, just before winter, I think it was, Mike.
Yep.
We made a video of a privy that we had dug and thought to ourselves, we were never going to dig a better privy than that, because if you guys do remember, we found a beautiful slope shoulder demijohn, some great sodas, some great pontled meds, amongst many other great bottles too, including some nice pontos. However, I think this epic dig that we just had a few days ago definitely outdid that one a little bit, Mike. And by the way, I guess being in the copy business really pays off, because thank you for this permission. Let me start by saying that. What you're seeing right here was actually the beginning of the privy. We started digging into it, and probably, 3 or 4 feet down, I mean, nothing was coming out. Remember when we first dug the test hole, Mike?
Yep,
we were just getting little, we weren't even getting shards of bottles. We were just getting little pieces. I kept saying, this thing's teasing us, it's teasing us. And finally, lo and behold, we actually broke through part of the wall that we had probed. And when we did, we got down into the use layer, and this was within probably about, 5 feet down?
About 5 feet, we hit this layer of sodas.
And they, amazingly enough, one of our friends was with us, who was not even a bottle collector. He went in and he initially started digging one soda bottle out. And it looked like Art was just pulling out one right after the other. Remember?
Oh, yeah.
It was just crazy. And I mean, these are... The great thing about these sodas is a lot of them have the double X's on the back of them. They're New York sodas. This is an Ormsby. I'm just going to rattle off a couple names here. Washington, D.C., Palmer and in green. Washington, D.C. I mean, there's mostly, as I said, there's another Ormsby here. There's some Niebels. We got a lot of these here, which I think are kind of cool. This one here is also a Niebel from New York. You know, Niebel does make a sided soda too. I had one many years ago. Unfortunately, we did not find a Niebel sided soda. And a lot of these T&W 139 Franklin Street, New Yorks, we found these.
Yep.
What do we got for like the really cool colored ones, Mike? We got a Sealy, looks like a GB Sealy, New York, Philadelphia Porter XX. And what do you got over there?
Honesdale, PA.
Honesdale Glassworks,
Yep,
mineral
water,
water. Beautiful,
Honesdale.
beautiful. And that was one of the ones that was your pick. That's a cobalt blue funnel, right?
Blue, iron pontal. This is a W. Ryer, which is the Philadelphia. It's the Union Glassworks.
Union Glassworks, Philadelphia.
Glassworks.
Very
Yep,
cool.
That was a nice one.
Very, very cool. Okay. And as far as, because, we're always into, like, the locals, so let me work my way down. This, for our local guys, this is an R. Forster's Poughkeepsie. This is a squat, and probably one you don't see very often. This is probably right around the time when Forster took over Cable's business, because they do make a green Cable soda in Poughkeepsie. Yep. This was probably within that 10-year span of that. Yep. This other nice colored soda here, and I've seen these a lot. I know we've dug these a few times. This is a Dixon and Carson, Walker Street, New York.
Yep, good strong
nice bottle.
Yeah.
And from the looks of it, it almost looks iron pontal. Can you see it?
A little residue on there.
There's a little bit of something here. So this could be a questionable iron pontal soda here also. And as I said, as you go back over, there's a lot of aqua ones. This is probably one of the cream of the crops here. This is a J&A Dearborn soda from New York. It's iron pontled. It's a sided soda. This was the only one. I think we found the shard to one other one, just the top piece.
Yep.
But that was the only sided soda that had come out of that privy. And what else do we got? Those are over there. Those are some of the ones that are beat up a little bit, Mike.
Yep. We got another cobalt one. It's got some damage, but you still hang on to it anyway.
Yeah.
Just there's 40 squat sodas
40,
on this table.
40 sodas total, and you got a gravitating stopper there, which is kind of neat.
Yep.
We found dozens broke on those.
One gravitating stopper,
and I think a couple of these. Oh, the other thing is that we found quite a few with the name W. Eagle, Canal Street, New York. This is the Porter. The Philadelphia Porter, 1860. But we found a bunch. Oh, that's in Albany, right?
This one's Albany. It's vertically labeled as opposed to horizontal.
Neat.
A little different shape.
Yes, it is. It is very cool. And somewhere for our buddy Jeffrey Hunter, who collects Pennsylvania stuff, he's probably got 10 of them already. There was actually, and I don't know if I can find it here while we're rolling video or not, there was a I think it was Potsdam, Pennsylvania. There was a Potsdam, Pennsylvania squat soda here too. And there was also one which I found to be kind of neat. There was one that actually, you have to look for it. Here it is. This is the one. I love this. I love the embossing. R. Robinson, 376 Bowery, New York, with the R on the back of it.
Yeah.
And it says Stout on it. I think that's a very unusual one that I haven't seen before. The guys that dig in New York are probably like, yeah, that's a common one, DeMarco. Oh, and also, here's something a little bit different, too. D&P Martin's Whitestone, Long Island.
Yep.
A Long Island squat,
Yep.
which is kind of different. Can't find that Pennsylvania one.
Here it is, right here.
Did you find it?
Yep.
All right, this one here is a Jacob Lauer, Pottsville, Pennsylvania. Where's Pottsville? That near Philly?
Idea. No idea.
Don't know. Okay. So these are our hauls as far as sodas go. Now there's more to the story. After we got done picking through the one layer of sodas, we came into something a little more interesting. We will be sharing that during part 2 of the video. That's coming up next. Keep it right here. And welcome to part 2 of our video. And actually this was part 2 of the level of digging that we had done, because after we finished with the sodas and got into the next level, how deep do you think that use layer was? Probably like 2-3 feet of use layer in there. It probably had to have been.
After the sodas?
Yeah, I mean, we were probably in like a good foot and a half of the sodas deep.
Yep.
And then I remember we started digging down the one side of it. I wanted to hit hard pan on the one corner.
Yep.
And as I hit the hard pan in the corner, that's when all of a sudden some of these started to come out. Now, when you were facing the pit, I do believe on the left side of the hard pan in that corner is when all these started to pop out left and right, which were, as you guys can see, they were Udolpho Wolf's aromatic schnapps in olive. Some are apricot color, like an apricot color.
Yep.
And we got a couple of ambers too, right? But in total, Mike,
there's 16 right here.
there's 16. Right, there is 16. And, I have that short one we still have to show.
17.
That makes 17. Yeah, we'll show that short one in a couple of minutes here. But if you take a look, I mean, some of these, I don't say they're common. Most of them are around the same colors, though. There's some olives here. There's some apricot-colored ones, and some ambers. But as you come over here, there was a couple of unusual ones. This one here I thought was kind of unusual. I mean, this thing is practically black glass, which you don't really see often. Even when you hold it up to the light, I mean, it's a very, very dark amber, but at first glance, it looks to be black glass, which is kind of unusual. I like this one because if you look at the way the neck is so crooked and bent on it, this is definitely one of the older ones. Not pontled, I don't think, but, but definitely very crude. The glass has a nice crudeness to it. It's a very nice one here. And then we've got the ones that are practically yellow, right, Mike? These are very light, like a yellow, like a very yellow amber. Almost like those, almost like the Doyetville whiskeys that we'll be showing in the video coming up next. But there we go. So we have a couple of the more yellowed ones. Now, apart from that, once we got through the Udolpho Wolves, and we found, and I have to tell you, you see the Drake's Plantations in the background here. But before we get into explaining them, let me also explain that during this time period when we were taking out these Udolpho Wolves, there were literally dozens
of
broken
Drakes.
Every time I kept pulling the top out, I'd look at Mike and go, another broken Drakes. And that was on day 1 of the dig. And then on day 2, you said, don't be surprised if you find a whole one, is what you said to me. And I kept thinking, judging by the way they were all busted up, because they weren't just busted a little, they were shattered. And all you saw was little tops, and you'd see the sides. There was nothing hardly even complete. That was actually the next day. And then all of a sudden, one right after another started to come out whole.
For a total of 6.
There was a total of 6 whole Drake's bitters. Yes, we are displaying 5 of them today, but there was in fact a total of 6. Most of them were your regular run-of-the-mill ambers.
Yep.
And that one's that yeah, like these here.
Yep.
And then, of course, came out the really nice dark ones, and we each got a dark one.
Yep.
So there
2
you
with
go.
a dark amber, a hint of red in the glass.
Mm-hmm.
So those are a little bit
A
different.
little bit different, but nice and dark, nice dark color ones. And they've, I mean, miraculously enough, knock on wood, they don't have any damage either on
Good
them,
shape.
which really, unless I see something later, but no, I looked them over pretty good. And then, believe it or not, although we do have a few more bottles to show you, the last oh wow that came out of the Privy was this cabin type bitters. This is a W. Chilton's. And what does it say along the bottom, Mike?
It's Kamini or something. Well, it says patented 1863.
Mm-hmm.
Bitters. Cremine, Crimean. Cremine. And then Romaines.
Romaines.
Yeah, it's a beautiful paneled bottle.
Yep.
It's got some really nice detail to it.
Yep. That's a beauty.
That was just the only one of its type.
And I mean, there
out of
wasn't
that
even
pit.
another broken one in the
No.
Privy. That was the only one of its kind in there, and we know why now looking at Heckler's auction. Definitely one of the more desirable bitters there. So this is part 2. Part 3 will be coming up in just a couple of minutes as Miss Donna walks around and zooms in on the aromatic schnapps and the Drake's plantations. Welcome to part 3 of our video. As you can see, the table is starting to get quite narrow now as we narrow down our video and come to the last of it here. What you see here, believe it or not, these, we call them pirate bottles. These are some refired, pontled, 3-piece mold. I don't know what they had in them. What do you think? Probably whiskey or wine of sorts.
Rum or something.
Yeah. I've been told they are English. I find them an awful lot when we dig in the Hudson Valley where we dig. And they also make them in a more narrow style too. There were dozens of these.
Yeah, I mean, here's only 3, but I think in total there was at least 15, maybe more.
They're made. Yeah, we left them behind only because there were just so many of them, and I know that although they are cool to dig and they are a little bit collectible, we're spoiled. Let's face it.
Right.
So we left them there, and anybody that comes back there and goes hiking or whatever, the homeowner, you gave the homeowner a bunch too because the homeowner was like very intrigued too. And thank you again for getting us permission, Mike. Now, aside from that, we did find a cache of these. And I don't know if you can see it or not, but they say patent on them. They're a very light yellow amber, and on the bottom, they say Doyetville Glassworks, Philadelphia. And I looked online, and I believe these carried brandy. I think these are brandy bottles, but to find...
There were 5.
There was a total of 5.
Yeah.
There was 5. That's right. The homeowner did get one of them also. Yeah. There were 5 of those also. And I do believe, looking over here at this is a stone beer, right?
Yep.
Now, speaking of stone beers, we have to also mention that the common stone beer is the one that's got the yellow top and the oatmeal bottom.
The 2 tones.
The 2-tone, the smaller, slender ones. How many of those did we end up digging? A lot.
I would have to say 15 to 20.
15 to 20.
Yeah.
We left them behind with these black glass bottles because, again, how many of those do you really need?
Yeah.
So we did leave those behind. So we got the 5 Doyetvilles. We've actually got 2 of these. This one here says what on it? This is
Hudson and Lynch.
Okay, Hudson's and Lynch stone beer. And wasn't there a Devereaux?
There was a Devereaux one as well.
That's
Same
a fish
size,
gill.
A
Fish
little
gill.
different color.
Yeah. I put this on the table because this was what we call the heartbreaker of the day. This was one of the very first really beautiful things that rolled out into my hand. And I was just like, son of a bitch, because when I turned it, we didn't do that. It's an old break. You can see it. It's not, but it's still broken. So, I mean, it is what it is. It'll display nice like that, but it's damaged. And speaking of which, we did get a few pontals too. We got a couple of puff pontals, just a little free-blown puffs that everyone has seen. And I got this Dr. S.A. Weavers. And how do you pronounce this, Mike?
not
Is
sure
it
how.
C-Rate? It's C-E-R-A-T-E. Is it C-Rate or C-Rate? C-Rate? And it's open pontled. We got one of these. You got a nice open pontle, big, sharp open pontle, Dr. Porter, New York. And although the heartbreaker was the olive green one, you got yourself the nice amber flask here as well. There is one more before we close the video out that I did want to show you. Right alongside that ink, I do believe that there was this igloo, which isn't your typical J-E-and-M one that you usually find. There was this igloo, and I think the homeowner got an umbrella.
Yes.
There was also an aqua umbrella similar to this cobalt one.
Yep.
We've dug so many of them now. But yeah, that was.
And that's a different form than you usually see. That little igloo. That's
It's
a little bit different
A little
shape.
different. Yeah, a little different. No writing on it or anything, just an igloo overall. So, gang, let me finish this off by saying keep up the good work. Happy digging. And if we come across another great privy like this in our lifetime, which is highly doubtful, we will be sure to post it for you. Thank you for watching.
Thanks.